Namaskar. I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to our live and interactive session. You're watching us on PME Vidya channel number 8 and also on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. This session is meant specially for the students of class 8 and the subject that we have taken up is science. Today we are taking chapter 6 from your textbook titled Reproduction in Animals. We all know that reproduction is a very important body process, but it is one of the processes, and reproduction occurs in plants, human beings and animals. How it is different and what exactly are we going to learn in the session today is something we will discover shortly. But before that, let me tell you, session is live and interactive, so you can give us a call. Our phone number is 8800440559. You can also write an email to us. Email ID is dth.class8@ciet.nic.in. And you can always send us your questions, suggestions and feedback on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. It's now time for me to introduce you all to my guest for the session. So I am definitely going to reveal the details. We are here with Miss Priti Maan. Ma'am is TGT Science from Bal Bharati Public School, Delhi. Ma'am, namaskar and very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
Also, I would like to share with you that we both are accompanied by our Indian Sign Language interpreter, Mr. Dev Malik. Dev, namaskar and very warm welcome to you too. Now, ma'am, before we actually talk about reproduction directly, it is very important to understand that it is one of the processes.
Yes.
And I want you to please tell us what all of the processes are there in human body or in animal's body that are important and how reproduction is different from all of them.
All right. So, if we talk of living organisms, so living organisms are characterized with 7 main features, right? This comes in grade 6 wherein children differentiate between living and non-living organisms.
Yeah.
So, they study that if any organisms or say any of the creatures which are there, if it is showing all these in it, it is to be categorized as living organism. So, one of the process is that it should respire. Yes. Now, if we talk of our body, yes, we do respiration, we inhale and we exhale.
Yeah.
So, that's a very important process and everybody knows we cannot survive without respiration. Second is the blood circulation.
Okay.
Yes, now the oxygen that you have taken in, it has to reach all the body parts. So, who is doing that? Blood is doing that. And blood is the part of the circulatory system.
Okay.
Where arteries, veins, heart and blood, all these parts are involved. So, that's the second process. Third one comes that we need energy to do work. From where that energy is coming? From the food that we are eating. So, the digestive system, we eat our food, it goes to the digestive system, there the food gets digested and the nutrients gets extracted and our body utilizes it for doing various physical activities. Yes. Now, further, whatever are the waste that is generated by our body.
Yes.
They need to be excreted out from the body. So, for that we have excretory system.
Yes.
Yes. So, the undigested waste that we are having, it egested out from the body and that is excretory system that is involved in that. Now, further we have nervous system, our brain and spinal cord.
Okay.
Yes. So, brain says that whatever is to be done, brain is the important part.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the spinal cord, this is again one of the important part in our body because it controls all the other parts in the body. So, there are 33 vertebrates present in our spinal cord and each one is connected to various parts of our body.
Okay.
Next, we have now all these processes that we talked of, right? If even a single process doesn't work properly, the person won't survive efficiently.
Okay.
Because they are so very required and important for our body to function normally. See, we cannot survive if we are not breathing, if we are not eating, that waste needs to be eliminated out from the body.
Or if there is no proper blood circulation.
Yes. So all the parts, all the processes are important wherein all the body parts are working very efficiently. Now, if we talk of this process, that is reproduction, right? So reproduction is one of the important characteristic of all the living organisms, let it be plants, let it be animals. And what it enable us? It enable that species to continue its generation, right? One individual, see, we have seen generation of our family also.
Yeah.
Yes, we have our grandparents, then our parents, then us, then our children.
Like we had different breed in animals, different species of plants. They all are continuing for so many years.
Yes.
I mean hundreds of years, just because of the process of reproduction.
So that is happening in plants that we have already studied in grade 7. So today we'll talk about in animals, right? So in animals, why it is important, how it is happening, and the processes, various processes that are included for efficient working of this process.
So ma'am, if we talk precisely, how would you define reproduction?
Yes. So reproduction, we have seen it is one of those processes that we take up to characterize the living organisms. So it's a biological process that create new individuals, ensuring the continuation of their species, right? And those characteristic passes from one generation to another generation. Now, why it is important? Survival of the species. Yes. So we have seen for a longer period of time, people are working on Project Tiger.
Yes.
Yes. Why it is important?
Like conservation of many species which are on the verge of extinction, and we
Yes.
work on them.
We work on them. Why? Because we want that those species survive.
Yeah.
Yes, they should not only be in the textbooks or just the pictures, they should be actually present in this ecosystem.
Environment. And as you mentioned, ecosystem, they also help maintain the natural balance of the ecosystem.
Yes. So everybody is required equally, whether it is plants or animals, to balance this ecosystem. So what is required for that? The species should survive.
Okay.
Okay. Next is there needs to be population balance. Okay. So reproduction is helping for creating a stable population within the ecosystem, right? We have seen, we have studied about food chain. Now what happens in food chain? Every other organism depend on the other organism for completing the food need.
Yes.
Now if you think that plants are eaten by grasshopper, grasshopper is eaten by frog, frog is eaten by snake, snake is further eaten by say hawk or vulture. If any of these goes missing from the food chain, then what will happen?
Of course, the entire balance will go astray, and people, the species will not get their food requirements, and they won't be able to survive. And also here we are talking about food chain, but there is something even more complex, that is food web.
So
for that we need even more balance.
So what will happen as a result of it? One species population will explode.
Yeah.
Because there is nobody to consume that species,
and the other will go down,
and the another will go down. Right. So population balance needs to be maintained. Then comes the genetic diversity. So this we see only in case of sexual reproduction, wherein the gametes are involved. So this is the brief idea of what is reproduction and why it is required.
Right. And you just mentioned the word here, sexual reproduction. It is one of the ways to reproduce. Like I've heard in plants, we have asexual reproduction also. What is the case in animals? How many types of reproduction systems are there?
So we do have sexual reproduction taking place and asexual reproduction taking place. That's the very next topic. You just clicked on the right button. So yes, that is the two main pathways that we shows, that how the organisms are reproducing, the ones which are categorized as animals. So they are reproducing either by sexual reproduction. So we know that all the species, they have their male and they have their females. Okay, so both the parents are involved for producing the young ones. to produce their offsprings. Next one we have asexual reproduction. So in this method, this is basically for the organisms which are single celled organisms.
Like for example?
Amoeba is one of those.
Okay.
Yes. So single celled organisms which are able to do all the processes on their own.
Oh, like we are doing all the processes on our own, like digestion, circulation, respiration, and single cell organisms are also doing reproduction on their own.
They are doing, see, just the single cell, and our body, we are made up of, say, we are multi-cells.
Yeah.
Okay, so that amoeba is also performing all those 7 processes that were categorized as important if we are defining a living organism.
Right.
Yes, so asexual reproduction is basically seen in those animals which are single celled, mainly in those. So what happens if we talk of genetic diversity, right?
Yeah.
That will see mainly in sexual reproduction. Why? Because we are getting the characters from both, from the father and from the mother.
True.
Right? So that's why, see, when a baby is born in the house, everybody says that whose feature it is having. More of father or more of mother.
Inherited the features of mother,
Yes.
father, and sometimes from grandparents and siblings.
Yes.
Side
So
as
why
well.
that happens? Because the individual, the baby who has been born, it has half of the characters or half of the chromosomes from the father,
Yes.
and half of the chromosomes from the mother.
True.
When they fuse together, then we get a cell that grows. So we'll just see that also, the whole process. We'll just quickly see the difference. So sexual reproduction, I told you, 2 parents are required.
Yeah.
The male and the female. Asexual reproduction, 1 parent would suffice. Yes, because they divide their bodies and then each part grows into a new individual.
Okay.
Next we have this gamete fusion. So the male and the female gamete, they are fusing.
Yeah.
Okay, and they form a new cell. In this case, no gametes are involved. It is one of the body parts only that is developing into a new organisms. Now, if we talk of offsprings, so offsprings, they will be having diverse characteristics.
Yeah.
Like you said, it could be father, mother, or say the grandfathers.
Gender may change, yeah.
Yes, so diverse offsprings will be having, so the genetic variation will come. But in case of asexual reproduction, those offspring, they are very much identical to their parent. So just it is the carbon copy of their parent. Why is that happening? Because they are getting generated from one of the body parts of the parent.
Okay.
Yes, so these are the main points of differences between the two, how this reproduction takes place as sexual and asexual reproduction when this is happening.
So we understood the 2 important characteristics and main points of differences between sexual and asexual reproduction. Now let's talk about the journey. Because in asexual reproduction there is only 1 cell involved, so there is nothing much. The entire process is done by the organism or the living being itself.
Yes.
If we talk about the journey for the sexual reproduction, how it starts and how it culminates into the offspring.
Alright, so we'll take examples of human beings only.
Okay.
Yes, because we are also categorized in the same category.
As animals.
Right. So the whole journey starts from where? It starts from the reproductive system. See, you see, when the babies are born, they are identified by their gender.
Yes.
It's a male or it's a female.
Yeah.
Why? Because our reproductive systems are different.
Yeah.
No other system has variation. Let it be digestive system, respiratory system, excretory system, there will be no difference in that. The difference is lying only in the reproductive system.
It's the reproduction system that actually makes a distinction between a
The
female
gender.
and a male gender.
Yes, yes. So the very first step that happens, it is the gamete production. So when the body is able to produce gametes, so there is a certain age to it, right? So there is a certain age wherein a body becomes capable of reproducing.
Yeah.
For males also and for females
yeah.
also. So the very first thing that is happening is production of gametes. Now the male gamete is sperm.
Yeah.
It is generated or it is produced in the testis. Now if you can see this figure, so the blue structure in the diagram, right, the diagram which is right at the top, the blue structure, that is the testis. So sperms gets generated in testis and with the help of vas deferens. So this is a tube-like structure that goes into the bladder. With the help of vas deferens, they go into the bladder, and from the bladder they further comes out through the penis.
Okay.
Now in females, what happens? You see these white structures?
Yes.
They are called as ovaries.
Okay.
So we have got 2 ovaries present in our body, and ovaries releases egg which is also called as ovum.
Okay.
That goes into the fallopian tubes, right? The tubes, they are clearly visible in the figure.
Yes.
They travel through the fallopian tube and come into the uterus. So this is the part that is uterus. Okay, so if the egg is fertilized, then the baby growth takes place in this region. That's
And when you
called
say
as
fertilization, what do you mean by that fertilization?
Fertilization is when the fusion of these 2 gametes takes place.
Okay.
So this picture where you see this egg is there and the sperms are also surrounding. See, one ejaculation, there are multi-million cells gets released.
Yes.
Okay, so you have just one egg.
The healthiest one.
Yes.
Yeah. That fuses with the egg produced by the female reproduction system.
Right. So single egg and there are many sperms present. So the sperm who could reach out to that egg will only fuse it.
Yeah.
Yes. And we are seen at the chromosomal level. So female has got XX chromosomes present in it, and males has got XY chromosome. That further decides the gender of the baby.
Yeah.
Right. So second step is fertilization. Now the second picture depicts here how that fertilization is taking place. Right. So the sperms enters into the egg.
And I think, ma'am, before you go further, it's very important to mention this thing in the social interest, that it's actually the male reproduction system that is basically responsible to decide the gender of the child.
Yes.
Because in our country, we generally, you know, in the social, they say because a woman is only having girl children. But
so
it's not
women
the case.
is blamed for that. But if you see the science perspective out of it, women is having only one type of cells present in our body. It is the male that gives those differentiated cells X and Y, and when it fuses, when X of that is fusing with X of female, then it is a girl child. When X is fusing with Y, then it is a male child.
Not in the hands of women at all.
No.
Okay. All right.
All right. So fertilization has happened. Now after fertilization, see, both of them, this egg and the sperm, they are single celled. Okay. When they fuse, after fusion, what happens? They form a cell which is again a single cell, and that is called as zygote.
Zygote, okay.
Right. So the picture you can see here, embryonic development, that says. Now once the zygote is formed, the cells keep on dividing themselves in the multiple of 2.
Okay.
Right. So we have got one cell, it divides into 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, like this it keeps on dividing itself. And the embryo, it gets 4-cell stage, it turns into morula and then blastocyst. All the information is given in this diagram. It is self-explanatory that how the cell division is taking place at different levels.
Okay.
And right in the end, when everything goes right, yes, because see what is happening. So it is said that having a completely normal child is a blessing in itself.
Yes, indeed,
because at every time the cell is dividing, the cell is growing. Yes, so mischief can happen at any point of time.
The limbs are forming at different times. The brain is getting formed and developed at a different time.
So they are continuously growing. Okay, so after this complete growth, what happens? The embryo, it turns into a fetus. Now fetus is clearly identified that it has face, it has limbs, it has this abdominal region, right? Now after the fetus is completed, there is a certain time that is called as gestation period, for which the fetus stays in the mother's womb, and then finally it comes out.
Okay.
Yes.
And when we talk of mammals, you know, they of course reproduce differently, and then there are birds who lay eggs also.
Yes.
But sometimes, because here we are talking about a fetus develops and grows into a baby, full grown baby. But what if there are twins? How does that happen? So it has something to do with the zygote stage only?
Yes, yes. So the possibility of having twins is that once that egg got fertilized, it exactly divided into 2 copies like this.
Okay.
Now each copy will grow into a new individual.
Right.
There are possibilities that 2 sperms are entering into that egg. Now we can have those same also, girl. It can even give rise to girl and boy. So it is completely dependent on how the division of cell takes place after fertilization, when the cell is getting fertilized.
Right. Now,
Okay.
ma'am, we are left with only like 1 or 2 minutes, but I want to understand very quickly that we have seen that here fertilization is taking place internally.
Yes.
At times we have seen that, you know, birds, like they sit on their eggs. So in that case, is fertilization taking place externally?
So, if we talk of humans, we have seen the fertilization takes place internally. What exactly it means that the fusion of gametes, the sperm and the ovum, where it is happening inside the female body, right? In case of external fertilization, yes, again that's a complicated process because the female is laying eggs over there,
Yeah.
and the male is releasing sperms, okay, and it is by God's grace they are getting fertilized.
That's right.
That is one of the reasons why the individuals or the organisms that reproduce by external fertilization, they lay n number of eggs.
Right. And ma'am, this is one such topic which needs more explanation, but because we do not have enough time in this session, we will come up with the second part of reproduction in animals in the forthcoming session. But for this session, I must thank my expert for joining us and actually introducing the reproduction process in such a subtle and very nice manner. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time and contribution. So viewers, I'm wrapping up the session over here. It was about reproduction in animals, and with the Miss Priti Maan, of course, we learnt a lot about it. And I would also like to thank my ISL interpreter Dave for continuously supporting us and accompanying us here through sign language. Now, before I leave, let me give you some quick informations. Let's talk about textbooks first, which are available on Amazon, Flipkart and NCERT website. I'm talking about grade 4 and 7. And let's take a look now at the schedule, what's all coming ahead. So in a short while from now, you can watch a session on mathematics, where we'll be talking about square and square roots. 4 to 5 p.m. is the time for our online training program, and we will end the day with our session Sahyog. With this, that's a wrap. This is me, Harpreet Kaur, taking leave of you. Namaskar.